We are great. We are recording now. So, welcome everybody to our Ask the Doc call for March 8th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Terry St. Ammon, and I'm a Vox Life associate and have grown in this business and learned about this technology 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago now. Actually, as a company 5 years ago in June of this year. But I've known Jay Dhaliwal, has been a friend of mine for a number of years, since early 2008. And I have had the pleasure of being part of this journey and learning and sharing more about this technology. And I'm so grateful and humbled that Dr. Mark DeBrincat and I have become very, very good friends. We've spent a number of days traveling together. We've been in the UK. We've been all over the place. And we've golfed together. We've done things socially together. And this guy is an incredible guy. And Vox Life is very, very fortunate to have him as our vice president of clinical strategies. So those of you that are new on this call today, you're in for a treat. I'm going to watch the feed as we go. My co-host, Angela Corns, has not been able to make these calls for the last little while. She's got a prior engagement that has fallen into this time slot for a bit, but she will be back with us in June. So I'm just running the show alone, Doc. You got me. That's all you got. So I'm just delighted to be here. I'm going to watch the feed. If you've got questions as we go along, I'll try and watch the feed and get to them. But we have a number of questions that have come in through email. So I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome our guests, both in Canada, the US, and abroad in the UK, and those of you from anywhere around the world that might be tuning in that are part of our Facebook's testimonials group, which we are streaming live on right now. I'd like to thank you all for being here and having an open mind to, if this is your first time looking at this technology, being open to hear some stories and understand a little bit more about how our technology works and the technologies that we have and the growth that we've seen over the last 4.5 years. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our VP of Clinical Strategies and my friend, Dr. Mark DeBrincat. Dr. Mark, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be here and to help inspire the truth about what we're doing to change the planet one person at a time. But of course, our goal is to have Vox Life be a household name and to truly be that force that has changed the way we think about our health, unlike anything else in the world. It really is remarkable to have something that I am so confident that every person we put this technology on, their life is impacted in a very positive way. For those of you that don't feel it and see it immediately, I guarantee you it's happening in your brain, because that's what we've been looking at for the last 4 years now. Probably getting closer to 8,000 brain maps now with and without the tech on. And it truly is remarkable to see how amazing our body can heal itself and how much faster it can do so when our nervous system is talking to itself properly.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, Dr. Mark, it's important for today's call. I think we have a lot of new viewers on here. I think it's really important we get this technology out by sharing it with people. We offer them an opportunity to look at something that's alternative to maybe the traditional ways they've looked at improving their body's ability to function. And maybe we should explain how you came across, how were you introduced to this product, and how did you come across it and get involved with Vox Life?
Sure, always happy to share that. So I was in a horrible car accident back in the late 90s. And I was already a chiropractor before that happened. And the field of specialty that I like to focus on was brain and spinal trauma. So I had to just become my own best patient. It just kind of worked out that way. And I fought for a lot of years to find my way out of the horrible trauma. And I snapped my pelvis in half in the front and back. I ripped all the muscles off my legs. I lost a third of my intestines, and I damaged my spine in a bunch of areas. I had 7 back surgeries. They put a computer in my spine so I wouldn't feel anything from my chest down, and basically just gave up on me inside a power chair and said, that's the best we can do. We're giving you the computer just because there's no more surgeries that we can do to help you. Now, fortunately, I'm certainly a fighter, and I think inside the box and outside the box. And my family was very supportive and just kept telling me to hang in there. You know, you're going to find your breakthrough. You're going to find something. Either it hasn't been invented yet, or you just don't know about it yet. But don't give up. And so, took about 17 years to finally find my way all the way out of that dilemma. But I did get my legs and my arms all back about 2014. And then I've just been very passionate about paying it forward and teaching other people how to find their journey out of the darkness and the valley of life where we feel hopeless. Like, this is my lot in life, and I'm just going to have to accept that. I almost accepted that 7 years ago and would have believed that I would never walk again, and that was just my deal. But fortunately, you know, I continued to fight, and I did continue to find those breakthroughs. And so, after I was already out of my chair and off my meds, and you know, had my abilities back, and was paying that forward to the world and to other people that you know are also stuck and struggling with their physical health, mental health, all of that. I did have some patients that I was helping at the time that were involved with Vox Life, and I didn't really get the standard explanation about what it was. I was told that these were brain socks, and hey, you're a brain doctor, so you should give these brain socks to all your brain patients. Pretty elementary. Sounded like a great idea, but I kind of chuckled because I never heard brain socks together before. And she was from a different state, so it wasn't like she was there handing them to me and could tilt me and show me something that I'm supposed to feel. And again, this was right when Vox Life was starting as a corporation, so they didn't have a lot of material at the time and a lot of things to explain it to me. So I'm embarrassed to say, but I honestly didn't believe they were brain socks and really didn't believe they were going to do anything for me. I wore them when I played pickleball. I wore them when I work out, and I didn't know if it was really making me better or not better. Like, again, I was already pain free, so I didn't really appreciate really what they were until about 5 months later, when I figured the best way to prove that they're brain socks or not is to just do a brain map on myself and put the socks on, and let's just see what happens. And honestly, if it would have changed my brain 5%, I'd be doing cartwheels. I'd be jumping up and down like, oh my goodness, these are actually brain socks. Wow. But I wasn't really having a lot of high expectations that that was going to be my reality until I literally did a brain map, put my socks on, mapped myself again. And much to my surprise, it was 48% better. I literally fell off my stool and then figured I must have uploaded somebody else's brain map. That couldn't have been mine. So I deleted everything off the cloud and uploaded everything again. And much to my surprise, it was literally my brain, 48% better. And the parts that were damaged from my initial injury that I'd never been able to wake up just woke up. So it was like, oh my goodness, this is too good to be true. This can't be real. So I immediately did my family. I immediately did a handful of other patients in the office. And I was finding it really was happening on everybody to the tune of about 34 to 36% change on average. So within a very short time, I was able to get a hold of Jay and tell him my findings. I made him a cute little video, just like, hey, you're not going to believe this. And I don't even know if you know what these socks actually do. You're talking balance and stability, but I'm talking brain function and neurology. And he's like, yeah, I do know what they're doing. And I'd love to meet you and talk about that. And so we met shortly thereafter and became instant friends. Um, and it's just been such a joy to get to know him better and then to be able to be part of this amazing mission and vision of truly changing healthcare as we know it. And so since that time, I have done over 7,000 brain maps with and without the technology on. And that allows us to really see what's happening. And so we've given that raw data to Dr. Robert Thatcher, and he's published a couple studies for us. And it really is remarkable. He's never seen anything that had a p-value higher than 95% success rate. And here we came in at 99.99% success rate, which is the highest he's ever seen in his entire career. So we know we have something super special here. And we know we have five different somethings that are super special here as far as the five different technologies we currently have to target the different parts of our brain and allow those things and those parts of our brain to truly thrive the way we know it can. So I guess that's my story in a nutshell. Now I'm super excited to continue to push the envelope of new product development that we're coming out with, and to be able to study what exactly is happening with these products and what we can expect to experience when we use the products as well.
And that's, it's it's funny. That's one of the exciting things we see with Jay, is that he continues to develop new things, and it's like, okay, Mark, test these. Okay, Dr. Mark, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And it's so exciting. Must be exciting for you, as a doctor, to be able to put these to the test and physically see what happens. And that leads me to Dr. Robert Thatcher. And maybe we could just explain to those that are on here, Doc, who Dr. Thatcher is, and what what his study actually was about. And we know that we sort of arrived at the 34 to 36% on average, and maybe we could explain through Dr. Thatcher's paper how this was calculated, and provide some examples of what overall brain optimization might mean for the actual user.
So, Dr. Robert Thatcher is one of the godfathers of neurology when it comes to neurofeedback, when it comes to brain mapping. So, for those of you that don't know, brain map has an instrument that we put on your head, or a cap, that basically has 19 microphones, and they're going to record simultaneously tens of thousands of neural synapses every hundredth of a second. And with that data, we can build a 3D image of your brain's neurology. What exactly is happening in your brain? What brainwave am I hearing? Where did it originate from? How long did it take to get to the destination? Is that within normal range or not? We can basically take your brain into 1,280 or 12,080 different little cubes of tissue and tell you which each one of them are doing or not doing neurologically. So he has received two different Lifetime Achievement Awards, one for developing the hardware to assess a brain map, and the other one 10 years later for inventing the software to interpret the brain map as well. He has written many textbooks for neurology schools and has published hundreds of clinical studies with military on concussion index and sports teams for concussions, and as well as all other trauma that is related to military and sports. And so he really is phenomenal, man. He's developed some amazing software that give us the ability to illustrate, to explain, to be able to see really what's going on, but more importantly, take that data and then use that data to make better changes in the brain. And so with our first study that we did on the HPT technology, which is our Harmony patch, it's the socks insoles and such, what he had found, it was the brainstem that was positively affected on pretty much 100% of everybody that put the socks on, and the area just past the brainstem. Now, why is that important? Well, these are our delta theta waves, which are our slow brain waves, which are also the ones responsible for the neural net that the entire brain is built on. And so in all cases of neurological decay in the brain, such as MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, Lou Gehrig's, all of that, it always starts with your foundation of the brain losing its integrity. Okay, losing your true potential of what you're capable of doing. And then once we see that area kind of go south, then we start experiencing symptoms. And then there is a strike 2 and a strike 3 area of the brain map. And so what we found was the HPT technology literally enhances that same part of the brain that's the first to go south in people that have these types of genetic disorders express themselves throughout their nervous system. And so reading between the lines, if you can wear this all the time before it ever gets to that, most likely you're going to prevent yourself from ever getting down that rabbit trail. Again, we're not treating conditions. We're not saying this prevents this disease or that disease or this condition or pathology. We're simply stating in the overall function of the brain, that's the most important part of your brain stem, and the neural net that holds it just above. And so it's so phenomenal to be able to have something that can target and enhance that area without creating a side effect on the other side of it. Anytime we do something to stimulate a part of the body or enhance a part of the body with a chemical or electricity or something else, there's always a counteraction part of that. There's always the consequence of doing that type of therapy. The only consequence we have is if we don't like the way I'm feeling, I can just literally take the sock off. It's just that easy. And most likely what you're feeling is not a negative thing. It's just you don't understand it because it's trying to help reorganize the way your neurology talks to itself and the programs that are running in your neurology that might not be suiting you. And so the first thing the tech does when you put it on, the Harmony patch, is it's looking for weaknesses in your nervous system. Some of you might feel them wake up and like, why is this bothering me? I haven't had that issue in years. Well, it just found your weakness that you adapted around, and now your body's going to get in there and heal it, because with technology on you, you are literally improving your body's ability to function neurologically and those immune responses by over 30%. So it allows you to get healthy and then stay healthy a whole lot easier. Many of you don't realize it takes a lot of work to get healthy. It doesn't just happen by default. You have to really pay attention to the way you're thinking and the things that you're consuming and the actions that you're choosing to take throughout the day. All of these things play a big role in how healthy you're going to be in the long run. Now, to have something that can literally enhance that neurology and enhance the way that your body's communicating with itself. I mean, think about it. Your skin delivers over 400 million bits of data to your brain every second. Your body then uses that information to make over 65 quadrillion chemical reactions every second in the dark in order to save and preserve all of the 3,100 tissues you have in your body. So we are so wonderfully and fearfully made. And this technology doesn't know how to go to this part of your problem and that part of your problem. It's fixing the whole neurology, helping the neurology return to homeostasis. Well, what's homeostasis? This is the neutral zone of optimal performance. So you have pH in your body. And if it gets too acidic, you're going to return it to homeostasis. If it gets too basic, you secrete proteins that return it to homeostasis in the neutral. If your blood pressure gets too high, you naturally, neurologically try to bring it down. If it gets too low, homeostasis brings it back up. It could be the temperature in your body. I'm too hot, my internal system cools me down. Okay, and so we want to remain at homeostasis because this means I can go either direction at the need, depending on what's going on in my world and my environment. And so all of our technologies help bring different targeted parts of your brain back to homeostasis. So whatever program was running in there that's not affecting you or not helping you, we're going to rewrite that program. And it's nothing more than just a new computer program that's going to run, that's going to help you return back to the way you were really designed to function and the way you were designed to be before this trauma or this event or this circumstances led you into the condition that you're dealing with now. So with that, we're not treating conditions. Don't start texting in, does it help with this condition and that? It helps with the condition of being human, and it helps the human body function and express itself better. So in most cases, whatever conditions you're having, you're going to see improvements. If you're looking for an improvement in something in the neurological world, think Vox HPT. If it's the condition relating more to blood flow in the blood world, think Neurovax, because that's helping clean the blood and helping your blood function better so that you are faster and sharper at responding to those neural interactions and those immune responses to literally change the physiology of the blood that's going to help your body overcome and heal and target and attack and whatever it is that it needs to do to help you thrive.
Yes, that's fantastic. I mean, I've often heard you refer to, our Vox HPT, or human performance technology, which is our original modality, built into socks and insoles, and then subsequently into our HPT Harmony patches, and then of course into our shapewear along with our knee brace. Why is it important? If we have, and we're going to talk a little bit today, Doc, about the other modalities, the other technologies on top that came subsequent to our HPT. But why is it important to, have that front door product on, that main door that opens the door, before we introduce some of the other technologies, which we can talk about as part two of the question? Maybe you can just run through the other four on top of HPT.
So that's a great question. And it's probably one of the number one questions that we get sent to the practitioners is, how do I know which one to use in combination with which one? And do they work alone? And so forth. So let me just address that, because those are excellent questions. And I'll start off by saying that every single Vox Life product can absolutely stand on its own and work amazing all by itself. And all the studies that you've seen and the videos that we've made and the tools that we've given you to share, these are all based on only that one being used and not a combination of HPT with that. Because I really want you to appreciate that it does target a specific part of the brain. Each technology that we have targets a different part of the brain. So with that, the first technology that we have is the HPT product, and that's what he just mentioned. It's in the socks, insoles, shapewear, knee guards, or knee braces, and so forth, as well as the patch. This really was the flagship product, and it is by far the most important one that we can do, because if those of you that didn't pick up the memo, your nervous system is the number one system in your body, hands down. It's guiding and directing the function of all 100 trillion cells. So this one plays a huge, huge role. So I like to use the analogy of going into maybe a sporting event or a concert, and you have a whole bunch of people in the parking lot that are trying to funnel themselves into the arena. But when you're looking at the side of the arena, let's say there's 20 doors and only 2 are open. So there's just this long single file line that everybody's getting really annoyed, because now we're hearing cheering inside. So something's happening there and I'm not seeing it. So we get very frustrated. And then all of a sudden, all 20 doors open with an usher at each one. Well, what do you think that line does? That line disperses so fast and people start running to an open door because they want to be the first ones in there. So think of Vox HPT as literally opening all the stadium doors immediately. And so it's not changing any of the tissue, except it's just opening the door. So you mentioned the front door. That's the front door to the whole building. And you got the janitor keys, because that front door and those keys can get you into any part of the building you need once you get into that front door. So in essence, Vox Life is the only, or the HPT is the only product that's going to float, which means it's going to open the front door and maybe use 10% of its ability to deal with brainstem, and then it's got an extra 24 to 26% to go somewhere. Where is it going to go? It's going to always go to your biggest need in your neurology, in your brain first. Now, every other product that we have, it goes past the brainstem and gets into the higher functioning brain functions. And so that takes a little bit longer in order to access those higher parts of the brain. And there's no overflow. So once it targets that part of the brain, that's where it's setting up camp. That's its office in the building. And its only key it has is to that office. It doesn't have the janitor key to go anywhere. It's going to be just cognition room. It's going to be just my sleep room. It's going to be just my immunity response room. And those are the areas that the other products go to. So with that analogy, it makes sense that if I have to go to my sleep room, wouldn't it make more sense if the front door to the whole building was already open and made it easier for me to get to that room instead of having to wait for something else? or wait in line to get into the brain to then make it to my room so that I can affect the sleep. It's better just to know I got as much supplies that I need because the front door is open and I got a direct line to the foreman that's going to give me whatever I need in that room and they're going to bring it to me. So without the front door open, I'm limited on the access I'm going to have to accessing the rest of the body and getting it to do what I need to do. So why is that important? Well, for sleep, let's just say you're laying down 75% of all your new cells during the night in just a couple hours. So if that front door is not open, hey, maybe you're only laying down 30% of your new cells tonight because I just didn't have enough workers to distribute everything that I needed to get done during this time. So in essence, if you wear the Harmony patch, it will absolutely make every other patch function a little bit better. Okay, it's just giving you more workers to do those jobs in those rooms. So the E-Smarter sleeve, this is going into the frontal and occipital lobe. These are the parts of our brain for higher cognitive function, and that's what I have on there.
Mhm.
We also have the Neurovax patch, which I'm not going to take my shirt off, but that's the pink patch we wear here. And that's 24/7 for me. That's my immune response. And especially in days like now where everybody's so concerned about viruses and catching something, I want that immune to be as sharp as it possibly can. So I always 24/7 have my HPT and my immune patch on. At times that I'm doing something that I need to be more cognitive, and more mindful and a little faster with my calculations, like doing reports and things, I'm going to have my eSmarter sleeve on. And I guarantee you, every time I go to bed at night, whether I sleep well with it or without it, doesn't matter. I'm wearing it every night because I always want to optimize my healing time while I'm sleeping at night. I might get 7 hours sleep whether I wear the patch or not. But if I wear the patch in that 7 hours, I'm doubling my deep sleep. How important is that? I wake up feeling fine both ways, but when I look at my metrics and I just double deep sleep, I know that I just healed my body for twice the amount of time. So why on earth would I not want to do that? It works every time I put it on. I get more of the good stuff and less of the restless nonsense sleep that I don't really desire or need to have in the first place. And so the metabolic patch, that one's going to target your metabolism. It's going to help you burn more calories without increasing your heart rate and making you jittery and feeling, um, like you're having anxiousness and restlessness inside of you, like so many people do when they take something that would increase that metabolic rate. So again, each of those other technologies, they're going past that front door and they're getting to the specific room in the building. It's always better to start with the HPT. And that's, well, of course, why we have 5 million people wearing that. It's because it's going to always elicit a better, more favorable response with the end product if the access to those rooms are unobstructed and flowing as well as possible.
Yes, that's fantastic. I love the analogy of the janitor key. The ring of keys for every door in the building. Because I do remember our janitor at grade school or even high school, and they just had this big ring of keys. I'm like, how does he even remember which key is for which? And
Right?
the ring looked so heavy, it would look like it was going to tip him over. But what a great analogy for that of having the key for every door. And I know, let's speak a little bit about, we know the Harmony, the HPT patch or HPT products will take care of a little bit of everything that our other technologies do, being our Neurovax, our sleep patch, and our metabolic patch. Um, but let's talk a little bit, Doc, about the fact that I've heard you say it before that if you're wearing the Harmony patch, the HPT or the socks, let's say, and you're eliciting that response in the brainstem or the midbrain, and then all of a sudden you put on a sleep patch, and let's say you've been having trouble with sleep, and you had just been wearing the Harmony. That what's so amazing to me is that our brain, our neurology, the Harmony patch will look at it and say, "Oh my goodness, I have a helper." I have a helper. I have somebody in this office, so that the Harmony patch recognizes through our neurology, through our brain, that we have a helper, and so it can move on to do other valuable stuff that it sees as important. So let's talk about how our Harmony Patch, our HPT, recognizes our other technologies to say, okay, you go do your job. I'm going to let you do your job. I'm not going to necessarily micromanage, but I'll come back and make sure that you're wearing that, because if you're not, then I have to do your job again. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So imagine an object that has many terraces in it. And when I pour an ounce of water into it, it's going to automatically flow right to the bottom terrace because that's just the way it's going to always flow. Now, when I put a second ounce of water in, guess what? It also goes to the bottom terrace. And if there's any water in there, it's going to rise up to the next level. And so when we put the Harmony Patch on, it gets past the brainstem, and 100% of the time, it goes only to the part of your brain that needs it the most. Let's call that the bottom of the terrace. And so it's going to always flow right to that spot. The technology doesn't know how to do that. Your brain's starving, and that's the driest part of the brain. That's where the water needs to go. It's like it's always going to go to the part that you need it most. And it's just innate. It knows how to do that very quickly. Now, the Harmony Patch is the only one that does that because it comes into the front door and it's got leftover. So like we said, it's got the janitor key to go anywhere in the body or anywhere in the brain. And it always picks the most compromised area. Now, if I take the next patch and that just so happens to be the same room, once that patch accesses the room, the patch is bringing enough workers to take care of the whole room. I don't need any help anymore from the Harmony Patch that was already in there painting or doing some construction. It says, you know what? We got a crew here. They need you on the 10th floor. And so immediately, the one that has the ability to flow into wherever we need it, it's kind of like the foreman. He got there first, so he's just getting the work done. Then the crew shows up and it says, you know what? I'm going to go help the crew on the 10th floor because that's the next most pressing project that we have a deadline and we need that part done. So if there's no technology that comes into the 10th floor, Harmony Patch is going to stay there until the job's done. And then once it's healed enough of that room that it no longer elicits the need for extra healing, the foreman leaves that room and goes to the next best room. And so the Harmony Patch has the ability to access any part of the brain that it needs to. When you put any of the other technologies on your body, it immediately tells the foreman, we got it here. You can go take care of the next best area. And we see that and we prove that with hundreds of brain maps because we watch adding multiple technologies on, and the areas that target the front and back are never going to target anywhere else. But the Harmony Patch will, once it doesn't need to be in the front or back, it goes and deals with the temples and the sides of the brain and so forth. And so I think that's just the best way to explain it, is one product has the ability to bounce around wherever it's needed. Mm-hmm. And the other ones, really, their only job is to go into that room in the building and stay there and just work on that. And once the room's done with construction, hey, just stay there and make sure that that room flows right. Make sure the traffic in and out of there, everybody just does optimal job all the time. And so it's much easier to maintain a healthy brain than it is to build health back into a brain that may have had trauma or issues, with certain parts of the brain.
Perfect. So absolutely no problem with wearing all our different technologies together. In fact, would you encourage that?
I would absolutely encourage it for sure.
Great. One of the things that we've said, as always, Doc, is that we don't claim to treat, diagnose, or cure anything, and we don't necessarily talk symptoms per se, but we constantly get those questions about, will this help for this or will this help for that, and so on. So maybe we can just touch on a bit about our products and symptoms, and how we see at times people with the same maybe issue, different timelines in their results, and why this may be the case in some cases.
Well, repeat that question.
So we know that our product, we don't want to talk symptoms necessarily, right, other than what we have studies for and what we can prove. And we know that our product elicits a response in the brainstem, and we've said it time and time again that it's our own body's ability to heal itself by getting the brain
100%.
into the best neurological position to allow the body to help itself. But we still hear those symptomatic issues, and we see in our testimonials where somebody might have been dealing with, for instance, let's just use knee pain as an example. And one person puts on our technology and they see results sometimes within hours. And somebody with the same sort of symptomatic problem wears our tech and doesn't see a resolve for maybe 3 weeks, but they do see a resolve. So maybe we can talk a little bit about why one person with seemingly the same issue sees results faster, and why someone would see them take a little longer to do that, and how that prioritizes in our neurology.
So the first aspect about talking about a condition or making a promise to somebody it's going to help with their quote knee pain or whatever the condition is you're 100% right. The only thing that treats a condition is ourselves and our own immunity, and that's how we heal things. Medication doesn't heal you, it can keep you alive, but it's not necessarily healing the condition. It's helping us deal with the symptoms of the condition. And again, there's some things like insulin is going to keep us alive if I'm a diabetic. But in most cases, people that are taking medication are to mask something, or to try to maintain something artificially. But again, there's side effects that all come with that. And so, anytime you're treating a condition, it has to have a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical study, and they have to prove that it actually affects X amount of people with that specific condition. You can't treat a condition when you're treating the whole body. Okay, we're treating the condition of being human, I guess you can call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's so many levels to why anybody would have a symptom. It could be 10 different conditions that would give the same symptoms. So who are we to say that we know what the reason was why they ended up with that condition? And so, um, not to mention, you're going to get Vox in a lot of trouble, and you're going to make yourself look foolish if you're claiming that it's going to help that condition and there's no medical proof behind that. And then there's lawsuits that come against Vox because you're out there saying things that aren't compliant. And so, if you're not a doctor, then you certainly don't ever want to talk about conditions. If you are a doctor, you only want to mention the condition if there's some proof behind the study that we can actually say that condition. So the best way to never get yourself in trouble is saying this is just helping open the front door to the brain, and then your body knows how to deal with that condition. And whatever treatments you're doing, I promise you the treatments will be received better, last longer, and have a greater effect if you put this technology on first, because it's opening up your nervous system to receive whatever it is that you want to do to treat that condition. And so we always have to give the credit back to the body. And as long as you're communicating that this helps the body process that better, this helps the body deal with that condition. It's not treating the condition, it's helping my body maintain better homeostasis. And guess what? That's going to make that condition or the symptoms of that condition appear to be less. Is it treating the condition? No, only my immune system and my innate intelligence knows how to treat and to cure and to heal my body. We're healing from the inside out. We're being harmed from the outside in, but the healing comes from the inside out. So we're not giving you a substance to heal you. We're giving you the key to the door that opens up all the healing in the body and allows everything to communicate and to function better. So it's so much easier to just give the credit to the body than to try to be super smart to know exactly how this treats this condition and that condition, because none of it's treating any condition except increased nerve flow. So if your current condition is obstruction of the brainstem, impinging the ability for the nervous system to communicate to the body, if that's your condition, yeah, we treat that. This is targeting brainstem, Brodmann area 1 through 4, and it's allowing the neurology there to return to homeostasis, which means if it's being bombarded, it slows it down and lets it pass through easier. If it's not getting through because it's too slow, it opens up more doors and lets more in to achieve that homeostasis. And so I always try to ask yourself the question. Somebody just asked me about a condition. What do I say? Just say, you know what, we treat the body and the body knows how to deal with that condition. And 100% of the people that put this on their body have a better functioning neurology. So I give more faith to my neurology to know how to make 65 quadrillion chemical reactions in the dark than I do to this one chemical reaction that somebody gave me and said, hey, let's try that, right? They're just practicing anyway. I'd rather have a more efficient neurology so that I can adapt better to my environment and I can heal the things that maybe I've not been able to communicate very clearly to that part of my body to know really what did it need supply wise? What did it need for healing? What was it missing? If we can't communicate, we just don't know. How great is it when somebody calls you and says, hey, I need help, and they're humble enough to ask for help? Well, guess what? When you open up your nervous system, all the parts in your body that need help are going to start yelling, hey, don't forget about me over here. I've been waiting for some vitamin C for about 12 days now, and I haven't seen any in the bloodstream. How am I supposed to lay down new cartilage over here? I need nutrients. That's a communication between the nervous system. It doesn't mean that this treats cartilage problems. It means that this is enhancing the nervous system, and I'm going to be able to heal everything better given the opportunity, and then having the right lifestyle to provide the right nutrients and the building blocks to be able to create new cells.
So we have a question from the field here, Doc, on how long should you let them wear, example, the HPT, the socks, or insoles, or the Harmony patch before adding another product? I mean, my answer would be, correct me if I'm wrong, would be obviously for the first 48 hours for sure, which is, you know, the time response for the HPT in its prescribed position as far as the patch is concerned would be worn. But I would say that, you know, 48 hours to a week would be what I would suggest, but it's not going to hurt. It's certainly not going to hurt. But if they're going to wear, let's say, for instance, the Neurovax, which is my go-to as well, I don't go a minute without the Neurovax on. And if I do, it's not on purpose. Believe me, it's either fallen off in the shower and I didn't realize it or whatever, but it goes right back on as soon as I get out. But it's certainly not going to hurt to introduce, you know, the Neurovax with the HPT. But what would be just sort of a common answer to that question from you?
You know, I guess it just depends on maybe the personality or the plan, the agenda. How fast do you want to get better? How important is it for you to be able to identify what each thing is doing individually? Um, in my case, you know, I'm the good news doctor, so we're all about getting you better as quick as possible. So I'll literally put all four on somebody the first day. I don't have any like, you need to do this first for so long. People don't even care in my office which one was doing what. They just want the end result as quick as possible. They're like, you know what? I put these patches on and I feel fantastic. And they don't really care which one did what. They know they're all doing their individual thing independently from the other one. And so most of my people, they're ready. They're like at the starting line, like, just hit the gun, let me go, let me run, like, give it all to me. And like, they just want to get the fastest result as quick as possible. So I am not into staggering or delaying the response, you know, for anybody. And again, I'm going to say something else. Most of my patients that come in here, they've been looking for solutions to their health for a long time, and they're so excited to finally find somebody that has several answers to it. And so money is never the option of like, well, can you do a pair of socks and a patch at the same time? And when they're coming in, it's not an issue about money. It's about how quickly can I get better, and how fast can you make that happen? And they're willing to pay whatever and do whatever. It doesn't matter about the money. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing we need to do is just make sure that the HPT part of our program is never stopped 24/7 for as long as we're going to be working together. This is unacceptable to go a day without it, because you want to get better as quick as possible. Well, I want to help that happen. 24/7 commitment here. How many pairs of socks do you have in your current sock drawer? Okay, you got like a dozen. Okay, how many different colors? What different types? We find that out, we're replacing your sock drawer. Minimal investment for the health of your future. And so I don't want you getting two pairs of socks and wearing them 3 days a piece and then waiting for laundry day. That's unacceptable. You wouldn't do that with your regular socks. So why are you doing that with the most important socks you're ever going to put on your body? Make sure that you have enough to get you through these next couple years, so that you have the pattern and you have the habit of always wearing them. We did that day one, where I literally probably put 2 dozen pairs of socks into all of our sock drawers in the home. And we got rid of all the other socks, and it's just not even an option. Once you find something that works, work it. It's like, don't skimp on your health. You know, you can skimp on other parts of your life to save a buck, but when it comes to your health, just do it right, and prepare yourself for success. Set yourself up with enough patches. When you get down to your last pack, oh my gosh, I got a month left. Make sure you get a couple more months right away. Don't get to the point that I have one patch left. They're like, oh my goodness, we forgot to order. Now you're a week without it. Why would you put yourself into that position? So prepare yourself for success. That's easy. Now work really hard to get your body as best as you can be, and all the other discipline for eating clean and avoiding toxins, all that plays a huge role. But your foundation is your nervous system. So why on earth wouldn't you just invest into your future nervous system to make sure that the future version of my body is going to be better than this one right now? We
Mhm.
can always have improvement. And so I can't emphasize that much. It's not about the money, it's about the convenience, and it's about the effectiveness of keeping it on 24/7 and always being prepared for success. And if you're those with a big heart that really want to help change the world, always be prepared with inventory on you, with stuff in your trunk, with patches in your purse, with patches in your wallet. So I'm talking to people all the time, and there's always an opportunity to help somebody. And
Yeah.
so again, be prepared for success, and success will follow. And I assure you, any person you put these products on, they're going to have a positive response. And you don't even have to be a doctor to do that. You're positively changing people's health one day at a time, one patch at a time, one sock at a time. But they're going to look back, and that's going to be the changing point of their life, when everything finally became focused and it became clear what they're supposed to do, and to get their life back and to have that breakthrough when it comes to whatever their health issue was. There's no greater gift in life than the gift of service, and be able to offer paying it forward and give somebody else the ability to finally have hope again and overcome things that they would have bet they're going to live the rest of their life
Mm.
with, and it's totally not necessary.
Absolutely. We know that, Doc, in your knowledge since the beginning of this company and in mine, we've seen no contraindications with any of our products that we've had. The only thing that we may have had is we're using, a hypoallergenic adhesive for our patches, and with people's different skin types, it doesn't always, respond well. Some people get rashes, some people get issues. Um, we don't really have a workaround. I know that even when I wear a band-aid, sometimes I get, I've gotten rashes from just a regular band-aid. It doesn't hurt per se, but I found that if I move the patch around after the prescribed position, that I really find, different areas on my body where I don't get the same response. But there is no contraindications whatsoever. So when we talk about, a disorder, or a condition like antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, which is a blood clotting issue or whatever, any condition that somebody has per se, this isn't going to hurt them or cause any issue, in your professional opinion, with regards to wearing any of our technology. It can only enhance or give the body a better opportunity to deal with the disorder. Would that be, fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely fair to say. Obviously, nobody likes the rash or the itchiness on the skin if they're reacting to the adhesive. But when it comes to neurologically, health condition wise, by all means, there's absolutely zero contraindications, nothing to worry about at that point. And again, it's just a matter for some people to wait out the time. If you've tried moving the patch around and you're still finding a reaction to it, excuse me, eventually we'll have, I believe, all the technologies in something wearable, like a sock or some type of clothing line. It will eventually expand into delivering those into those aspects. Another thing, though, think about it, a rash is a reaction in the blood. And so the blood's either trying to detox something out of there, like the sticky itself, or something else. And so I would think if you're experiencing that, the Neurovax would be one that maybe after a day or two, you won't experience the rashes anymore because you're getting a stronger immune response. So again, there's lots of different reasons why somebody might have the rash. It might end up because they put the sticker back in the same place over and over and over again. The skin isn't able to breathe. So moving the patches around day to day is always advisable. It might just be that you react to the adhesive. And I will say that over the years, we have upgraded the patches multiple times because we're finding a better version of the adhesive that's less hypoallergenic. And so, or more, I don't know if the less or the more is the word, but having less of an allergy is less people reacting to it has always been the goal. And trying to get it to stay stuck longer was
Mhm.
another goal because it's upsetting when you pay a couple bucks for a patch and it falls off right away if your skin's too greasy or what have you. So again, it's not unfortunately a situation that 100% of the people can be helped with it. Even with the socks, if it was just socks, some people just can't handle wearing socks on their feet and
Mhm.
they don't like that. So that's why we have insoles and other options. Eventually, as we continue to share and grow, I think we'll have multiple options for all of our technologies, as well as a lot more technologies coming out. And earlier in the call, you had mentioned how much fun it must be for me to get all these new technologies and be able to study them before everybody else knows. It's a bittersweet thing. Yeah, it's super fun and exciting, but it's terrible that I can't talk about it and I'm under a non-disclosure. I know all the new secrets of things that are coming out, but I can't share because it really is exciting every time we have a new product that come out, and there's so many more people that can be helped. And so,
Well,
um,
we have these. We have the new Boomy
yep,
EMT socks, and I know you're currently, doing some studies with it or brain mapping issues with that. So maybe we can just at sort of the last part of the call, because I still got 8 more questions, but we'll have to save them for next week. For next or 2 weeks call. But tell us a little bit about the EMT, the elevated mind technology.
actually, I don't have anything to share yet. So
Not
we're
yet.
not done. Let me finish the study on that new product, and then we'll tell you very specifically exactly, the results and what we're doing with it. I know here in the United States, we don't have it yet. So we're really excited to get it. Everybody's chomping at the bit, down here to have their new.
Well, I know
Uh,
everybody that I've talked to so far that is wearing them. I mean, anything to do that we can make an impression on the world to take some bad out and put some good in for every pair that is
right?
sold. Voxlight Boomy, which is also owned by Jay, will plant a tree on behalf of that. I think is incredible. And philanthropy is always good. I think Adidas has been making plastic shoes from plastic bottles since 2016. So I think it's absolutely wonderful that Jay is looking at how we can make our imprint on the world even stronger than we are doing now. And our journey has just begun, and certainly we have a lot of work to do, and it's an exciting journey, because as we gain momentum, I think we're close to almost 7 million people are wearing our technologies now, and have used our technologies. And it's been a tough go. It's been a tough go in this time of uncertainty with the virus and so on. But I'm like you, Doc. I mean, with this world of viruses and everything, I don't go a day. This patch right here is on me 24/7. I've got packs everywhere, in my vehicle, in my bedroom, you name it. Along with my house doesn't have any other socks other than Vox socks. Over time, it was the right investment, certainly for me and my health. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life, and everything I do is just better. I enjoy more. So wearing this technology and having my not only my physiological being in the right position called balance or homeostasis, but also having my neurological position in the best possible position that it can be in, has really allowed my quality of life to be second to none. Now, it didn't happen overnight. It was something that I gradually experienced. But what was really ironic for me is that as I was experiencing this improved quality of life, I was getting older, and that's not supposed to happen. As you get older, you're supposed to feel worse, and that was really incredible to me. And so Certainly, I'm very, very grateful for this journey, this technology that's made a difference in my life, and certainly it is an honor having you on this call and explaining to the field and taking questions from the field. But you know, for me and my family, it's certainly the right thing, and I know it is for yours as well.
Yeah, awesome.
So once again, thank you, everyone. I appreciate everybody being on the call. For those of you that are guests, we appreciate you being here on the call. We have on March 20th, we'll have Dr. Mark on a opportunity open house event that we're having, and we'll also have our inventor and CEO Jay Dhaliwal on, as well as our first two speakers in our lineup. And this is a 2-hour event. Reach out to an associate that you know, tell them you want to go, you want to be there, and you want to learn more about this, and you want to become part of our mission, because we are making an impact in the world. And man, there's no better feeling in the world than to impact somebody's life in a positive way. That's for sure. So once again, thank you, Dr. Mark, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody that gets a chance to be on in 2 weeks again on our Monday call. And those of you that are associates, I invite you to our training call tonight, hosted by Carla Archer, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody again real soon. Thanks, and talk to you soon, everybody. Thanks, Dr. Mark.
All right. Thanks, Terry. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you, everybody.